From the beginning, the core disciplines of the current School of Human Thought and Global Cultures have been taught at Ohio Northern University. How those disciplines were organized have gone through several evolutions, and those disciplines became majors, and were organized into departments that have also evolved over time. What has remained the same is that the disciplines that make up our new school have worked to make our current mission statement a reality. That statement reads,
"The School for the Humanities and Global Cultures teaches students to question the present and learn from our past by studying historical, linguistic, literary, philosophical, and religious traditions. In humanities courses, students learn to celebrate and challenge these traditions, including the virtues that drive us and the passions that inspire us. Faculty and students in the humanities use stories, ideas, and words to interrogate the frameworks that people use to make sense of the human experience, past, present, and future, thinking critically and creatively, reading with insight, and writing with purpose."
The Northwestern Ohio Normal School was founded in 1871 by Henry Solomon Lear, with the intent to offer classical liberal arts education and to train teachers. The course catalog provided a standard example 4-year curriculum, but no summation of majors, minors, departments, or divisions. From this example, however, there is a clear focus on classical humanities such as Latin and Greek, which are no longer offered here. There was also a clear focus on history, English, and philosophy. While some specific classes, such as English grammar, no longer exist today, history, English, and philosophy still make up an important part of humanities.
The Humanities department was not around in the 1880s, though there were classes that now fall under the department, such as general history, Latin, Greek, English grammar, and the like. Teachers also taught multiple subjects. In 1885, Regina Dixon taught mathematics, analysis, and history, which is now part of the Humanities department, and orthography. Overall, there was not a lot of information on the Humanities department in the 1880s, as the university did not develop a departmental structure yet.
In the 1890s, the literature department included courses for those students who wished to devote more time to special studies in English and American literature, history, and political science. There were also courses in modern languages. There are many who decided to study German or French. Although we have not published a course of studies in those languages in our curriculum, yet we form classes in them when it is desired. In the classical course, many substitute German for Greek.
Another division within the university was the university course, for the benefit and accommodation of those students who desire to take a more extensive course in mathematics, Latin, Greek, literature, and history. We have added 1 year to the classical course, thus affording ample time and opportunity for training and culture needed in almost any occupation in life. In 1900, the university course was reorganized into the philosophical course.
By the 1910s, the College of Liberal Arts has been organized distinct from the normal school. ONU provided its students with a 48-week school year and a 3-year curriculum that led to a bachelor's degree. Students needed to take a minimum of 15 hours per week to be in school, and the year was organized into quarters instead of semesters. The university was organized into the College of Liberal Arts, Education, Engineering, Law, Pharmacy, Music, Commerce, Agriculture, Expression, and Fine Arts. The curriculum also included military instruction. The faculty did not change much at all for the humanities, and they created a good structure that guided students in what must be taken before graduation.
During the 1920s, majors had emerged and included Bible and church religion, English language and literature, history, Latin language and literature, modern language and literature, and philosophy. Humanities professors during that decade included Richard Schoonover, professor of Greek, Hebrew, and church history, Childe Harold Freeman, professor of English literature, Walter Niswander, professor of history, and William Groth, professor of modern language. In 1921, new faculty included Matrona Angelo Burris, professor of religion and philosophy, Martell Elliott Davis, professor of modern language, and George Anderson, assistant professor of English. Stephen A. Armstrong, professor of religious education, Robert Crusoz, instructor in modern language, and Una Johnson, instructor in history, joined the humanities faculty. In 1925, Yana Johnson was promoted to the position of assistant professor of English, and Vernon Van Buren took over religious education. The 1927-1928 academic year included Helen Willis as instructor in modern language and Jesse Elmer McMullen as assistant professor of English. The humanities instructors did not change at the end of the decade, and Richard Schoonover was the longest-serving professor at 29 years.
From 1930 to 1939, very little changed in the humanities at ONU. It was made more difficult because the bulletins for 1935 and 1937 could not be found. Additionally, the format for the bulletins changed from 1931 to 1932. However, the bulletins did give enough information to find that the humanities staff remained mostly the same. There were, of course, a few staff members who retired, as well as a few who joined the staff throughout the years. Additionally, very little changed from year to year with regards to the available majors. For the most part, the humanities majors included English programs, foreign language programs, history and political science programs, and religion and philosophy programs.
The 1940s had the humanities split across 4 different divisions. English and foreign language were part of the language, literature, and art division, while history, religion, and philosophy were part of the social science division. Each student was required to complete 186 quarter hours. Students in each division were recommended to take other classes within their division. English majors were pushed to take a foreign language as a minor. A major in English required 36 hours, while a minor required 24. A foreign language major required 38 hours, while the minor needed 24 hours. The history major required 36 hours of history and 9 hours of American government. Religion was designed to set up a path for students to continue their studies at a seminary. Childe Harold Freeman was the chairman of English for parts of the 1940s and apparently stepped down during 1943. None of the other humanities had chairs listed during the 1940s.
During the 1950s, the Division of Social Sciences included history, religious education, and philosophy. The Division of Language, Literature, and Arts included English and foreign language. Students majoring under this division needed 18 hours in English, or speech or both, courses in history and philosophy, and continued taking courses in a foreign language. All these humanities classes were under different divisions at the time. Students during this school year were required to take and understand all of these subjects. Furthermore, they needed 2 complete years from English, 9 hours done in their first year, and the social sciences, 9 hours of religion. Philosophy could be substituted for religion, course for course. Philosophy should be scheduled in junior or senior year unless it was taken to satisfy the religion requirement. The history major continued to include 36 hours of history and 9 hours of government. Professor Binkley was still the chairman of the Division of Social Sciences for both years.
By 1976 through 1977, the humanities continued to be prominent. During this year, the selection of courses had grown considerably since the 1880s. Under College of Liberal Arts, one could major in history, English, as well as several languages, philosophy, and religion, all of which were not majors in the 1880s. ONU did not have a humanities department yet, as there was still an English department, a history and political science department, a modern language department, and the philosophy and religion department.
During the 2005 and 2006 school year, there were several full-time and part-time faculty members that taught English, history, religion, modern language, and philosophy. The staff included Professor Michael Laughlin and Robert Scott. These two are still part of the humanities department at ONU. The humanities were still split between different departments across the university. History was paired with political science and criminal justice. Modern language and English were part of their own respective departments, while philosophy and religion was also its own department. There were a wide variety of majors and minors. Majors required roughly 60 course hours, while a minor required roughly 30 hours. The major exception was the modern language major and minor. A major in modern language required 52 hours, while a minor required 36 hours.
The same division structure with English, foreign languages, religion, and philosophy, and the humanities division, and history and the social science division continued into the second decade of the 21st century. By that time, departments were the main organizational structure for the university. English had its own department, as did modern languages. Religion and philosophy were together, and history was housed with science and criminal justice. Political science.
Since 1871, there have been many buildings that have housed our programs. Hill Memorial, named for Methodist preacher John Wesley Hill, has been the home of history since 1970. The Dukes Building, named for Louis Dukes, who donated $10,000 to build the structure in 1902, has housed English and modern languages since 1966 and 1971, respectively. Religion and philosophy have been located in the Wesley Center, which includes the English Chapel, since the building opened in 1972. The English Chapel was named for Walter and Ada L. English.
Since we should always put the story in history, here are a few of the stories we uncovered whilst doing this project. The Dukes Building was once the scene of battles between classes that often took an alarming turn. One student, Fred Zimmerman, jumped off the third floor to protect his senior class colors in the 1905 battle between juniors and seniors. When first built, Dukes was connected to the village's central heating panel, so students and professors shivered in their overcoats during classes. President Albert Smith, who was president between 1905 to 1930, ordered 8 new hot air furnaces installed to alleviate this problem.
Hill Building has had 2 fires. The first occurred in 1889, caused by students attempting to steal lamp oil reserved for professors. The second in 1913 was more damaging, and the university decided to rebuild only 2 of the original 3 floors. Historian Wilfred Binkley was likely the only ONU professor to have been called that lackey of Wall Street by Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, who disliked Binkley's interpretation of democratic government.
Binkley began writing a history of ONU, but died while proctoring a final exam before he completed it. Eugene Belch of the English department stepped into the breach and completed Tempered by Crisis in 1971. Professor of English Clyde Harold Freeman, who the Duke's Annex is named for, also taught at Ada High School. One day, 2 large students were misbehaving, so he grabbed their collars and tossed them out of the assembly hall, and then calmly started his lecture.
English professor J.G. Park in the 1890s wrote Park's Grammar, a widely used text. Another English professor, Frank Irish, wrote Irish's Orthography in 1888. Poet James Cloyd Bowman, who graduated with an English major in 1905, went on to teach English at Iowa State College and Northern Michigan University. He published several books, including poetry works and several children's books. Faculty in the disciplines that make up the School of Humanities and Global Cultures have continued that strong record of publication. In the past 5 years, faculty have published 94 creative works, 36 book chapters, 34 scholarly journal articles, 7 edited collections, and 5 monographs.
Students have also gone on to do great things. Rachel Crew, English 2017, has published a chapbook and 20 poems in 15 journals since graduation. Jared Hardesty, History 2008, has 2 monographs on slavery in New England and has additional books in the process of being published. Reverend Abby Autumn, Religion 2005, is the youngest district superintendent in the Methodist Church. Alex Fox, Philosophy 2015, has a forthcoming essay, You Want Some Privacy? You Better Work, in an edited collection. And Maria Gonzalez is working on her MA in Madrid, Spain.
Humanities majors have gone on to pursue graduate education at 23 different universities between 2015 and 2019. They have presented at professional conferences alone and with professors, and have published as undergraduates. The disciplines of the School of Humanities and Global Cultures have been a significant part of Ohio Northern University since the beginning. They have existed in various departmental and divisional groupings, and have taught their courses in a variety of buildings. What has not changed It is the quality of the education that our professors provide and the quality of students that earn their degrees here.